So I'd like to welcome you into another ecstatic realm, the ecstasy of the bard. And we'll be travelling another inner vista over the brow of another inner hill as we follow the gentle, meandering curve of this pilgrimage through time and space. This pilgrimage through the heart lines of history. And today we'll be joining our hearts with another exquisite soul, a being by the name of Taliesin. Wonderful name. A great bard of the ancient Celtic lineage. An ecstatic whose legend and whose words are filled with a breath of deep ancestral wisdom and timeless love. So let's get ourselves in the mood for another voyage. A transport into the soft, aching beauty of the pathways of ecstasy. And by now, if you've been following me on this journey, you may be getting used to the softening space we're creating together. Your ears and my voice, my ears and your voice. Our hearts connecting. This rhapsody, this courtship. Because there's nothing I wish more than to be allowed to serenade you, to soothe you, and to invite you into my drift. Because we're drifting together, you and I. We're all adrift. We're drifting through a land of dreams. We're drifting through a land of poetry, of romance, of story, of music, of song. We're drifting through the wonders of inner space. We're drifting through the dimensionless, the fathomless, the infinitely surprising chalice of the boundless. So breathe with me now. Breathe deeply into your heart, into the ache of the ecstatic who lives inside you, into the hollow, into the cavity, into your marvellous chest. Because we're all ecstatics. Every human being is born an ecstatic. All of us on this blue-green globe. And breathe in the courage you'll need to carry this frequency out into your world. Summon up the abandon. Call in the ancient gods. Gather the madness. And bound with me down the hillsides, through the wilderness of your wonderful wind-strewn heart. Can you feel it? It's beginning. Here within your bones unheard, the windy hermit works, kissing embers orange from the fire. He churns the world within your wound and mutters in your eyes. Yes, when we've finished here, by the end of this series, we're going to be mindless, toothless drunks, wandering round the streets of our hometowns, muttering ecstasies to ourselves. Yes, that's the kind of courage I'm talking about. Because the ecstatics, we stir the world within the wound. That's what we do. We're the stirrers. We're the revellers. We're the wanderers. We're like divine bees moving from heart to heart, pollinating purity and jousting with joy. Ours may be the most thankless task of all, but our joy is in the pollination. As we dive into another heart and emerge dripping golden dust, covered from head to toe in Shakti, divine juice, drunk and delirious. And them, the others, well, they're left wondering, who was that? What just happened? Breathing again. Breathing deep into the yielding atrium of your heart. Stretching its sinews, pushing out your chest. Breathing back, opening your arms, as though you're about to burst like a cannon, firing the cannonball of your heart out into the deep space, where it explodes like a supernova to embrace its own silent, empty purity. Take a few moments to feel that soft expansion opening from your chest. We're stirring the wound, the sacred wound. Now we're ready. Ready for the plunge once again. So today, we have another wonderful journey ahead of us. And our guide comes in the form of a single being, a timeless being, Taliesin. He came and found them snarled as though in a net, and he cut the ties that bound them, that they might see. Taliesin. Taliesin. Let the word echo around the chambers of your heart. Let it bound and rebound around your inner being. Feel its quality. Hear it inside you. Allow your body, your DNA to remember it. Let's not worry about what it means yet. Just feel it in its purity as a vibration, as a frequency, as a wordless transmission rooted inside us, travelling within us since the dawn of time. Taliesin, weaver of dreams, sacred bard of the Celts, wizard of the wordless word. Tonight we journey deep into the wisdom memory of the ancient Celtic race. The Celts. Wizards and warriors, saints and wanderers, poets and kings, princesses and queens. Yeah, this is my land. The land of Merlin, of Arthur, Guinevere, of the Lady of the Lake. The enchanted land, the land of Logres. The queendom of Atlantis and Lemuria, lost beneath the waves of time. England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. What a quadrivium. The four quarters, the four corners. The Celts came from all across Europe. But by about the first millennium, the Celtic races were mostly insulated to these isles, the British Isles. And this is where we meet the historical Taliesin, a 6th century poet or bard who's believed to have sung at several royal courts. But, as you might imagine, we pilgrims of the ecstatic plains, we're not so interested in the games of scholars. Taliesin is more than history. Taliesin is a legend. And what is a legend but a reservoir of living wisdom that travels through time and through space to inspire, to enlighten, and to invoke magic and meaning in the times when they're most needed. The bardic tradition It's as old as the hills. We met it briefly when we touched on the figure of Orpheus in those marvellous, magnificent sonnets by Rainer Maria Rilke. And Taliesin is not so much a single figure. This is what we have to understand. Is it, I wouldn't even call it a he, although I may refer to he. He's a tradition, he's a transmission. It's a living, woven fractal of individuals, all embodying one thing: the vibrant, poetic spirit of the landscape in which they lived and moved. In Greece we had Orpheus, in Ireland Amergin, in Wales Taliesin, in Scotland Ossian, a great bard. In England we called him Merlin. So we're not talking about a single historical figure, because the moment you hit the speed of ecstasy, you cease to inhabit these lines, these confines of time and history. Your biography becomes meaningless to us, to the ecstatics. What we do in life is never the point. It's who we are. It's the quality we bring to the world through our effervescence. It's the magic we create, we weave around ourselves as we walk through the infinite present moment. So the question isn't who was Taliesin, but who is Taliesin? Where is he or she? Where is he inside you? Which aspect of your consciousness comes alive when you dive into the field of this vibration? Taliesin. Taliesin is a vibration. It's a frequency. It's a shape. A bird. A gust of God within the wind. Because the ecstasy of the bard is his own ecstasy. And yet still he sings it for you out of love. Taliesin is there wherever something poetic and ephemeral draws you up and away, or down and in. He floods you with archaic memory. He lures you with the rich red light of the past. He can never give you a straight answer. She is the end of all questions. She has done with straightness. She is curves, all curves, and spirals, and arcs. So who is Taliesin? He came and found them snarled as though in a net, and he cut the ties that bound them, that they might see. Shall we go deeper? We have to be intuitive, time-travelling, mystical detectives. And there are clues, and we have to follow those clues. He was a bard from the 6th century. This is one thing we know. A bard. A bard is one, what it means is it means one who raises his voice in praise. Isn't that wonderful? One who raises his voice in praise. Another word for an ecstatic. It's easy to project onto historical characters. I mean, in one respect, that's what they're there for. There are considerable reams of poetry attributed to Taliesin. There's a wonderful book called the Book of Taliesin, and it has some wonderful Welsh poetry in it. But the bardic tradition was strictly oral, so these poems that we can read now, they were probably written down by later scribes. But the oral tradition, the amazing thing about it is it's our only direct link to prehistory, to that time before the written word. Think about that. So stories from those very, very early times have always been shaped and reshaped and tempered by the bards from all across the world. And really there are only a few stories. And they all emerge from a single source, a single egg. Let's follow some of these beautiful words of Taliesin. This is from a famous poem from the Book of Taliesin. It's called The Battle of the Trees. So let's just drop into this one. I have been in a multitude of shapes. Before I assumed a consistent form, I have been a sword, narrow, variegated. I will believe when it is apparent. I have been a tear in the air. I have been the dullest of stars. I have been a word among letters. I have been a book in the origin. I have been the light of lanterns. I have been a corse. I have been an eagle. I have been a coracle in the seas. I have been compliant in the banquet. I have been a drop in a shower. I have been a sword in the grasp of the hand. I have been a shield in battle. I have been a string in a harp, disguised for 9 years, in water, in foam. I have been sponge in the fire. I have been wood in the covert. Did my Creator create me of 9 formed faculties, of the fruit of fruits, of the fruit of the primordial God, of primroses and blossoms of Thyme Hill, of the flowers of trees and shrubs, of earth, of an earthly course, when I was formed, of the flower of nettles, of the water of the 9th wave. I was enchanted by mirth. Before I became immortal, I was enchanted by the sage of sages, in the primitive world when I had a being. Gold my shield border, long white my fingers. It is long since I have been a herdsman. I travelled in the earth before I was a proficient in learning. I travelled, I made a circuit. I slept in 100 islands, 100 cares I have dwelt in. Ye intelligent druids, declare to Arthur, what is there more early than I that they sing of? And one is come from considering the deluge, and Christ crucified, and the day of future doom, a golden gem in a golden jewel. I am splendid. No one can say that who is not an ecstatic. I am splendid. This splendour, this is the mark of all true bards, all true pilgrims of the ecstatic plains. You fall in love with your own inner light, your splendour. It's hard to cast yourself back to those dark ages and consider how rare was a true ecstatic, and how bright they must have seemed against the background of the darkness and the violence of those days. The wind and the rain today is building and howling around me as I dive into this transmission. It's rather beautiful that the land is responding, flooding the air with its waters. You see, ecstasy is a strange thing. It has to do with memory, and memory has to do with waters. And we're not talking about mental memory, physical memory, which is held in the blood, in the waters of the blood. In our culture, we don't do ecstasy. Some of us take drugs. We do the workshops. Maybe we meditate a bit. But our world has got so busy. And ecstasy surges up from the timeless realm. We're so busy worrying and saving the world, we don't have time to indulge in ecstasy. Because ecstasy is self-indulgent. Isn't that funny? It's self-indulgent. It's the most self-indulgent thing. You have to indulge fully into yourself, your higher self, into your own heart, so deeply that you lose track of time. You lose track of seriousness. You lose track of concern. You even lose track of your words. You just find yourself laughing. Look around you. Look at the world. Look at us. Aren't we splendid? Aren't we beautiful? Aren't we perfect? Ecstasy softens life. It rounds the edges. It gives us perspective. Like the rain. Only action from ecstasy has real power. So this here, what we are doing together, these journeys, the way we're reclaiming these ancient aspects of ourselves, it's vastly important. We're going into our DNA and we're reclaiming them, we're reawakening them. Taliesin, this being is inside us, waiting. So before you act in the world, know yourself, know your own heart. Like the bard, let your heart raise your voice in praise. And another thing. To know ecstasy, you have to know something else. You have to know how to listen. And we saw this with Rilke. Rilke taught us how to go within and how to listen to the vastness, to your inner being, your essence, in quietude, in the middle of the night, or the first thing in the morning, before the birds are up, or in the searing heat of your daily life. Listen, Taliesin, listen. I've discovered a secret about people. It's one of the greatest secrets I've ever learned. I'll share it with you. All people need is to be listened to. That's it. In any situation, just listen to them. Give them the stage and listen from that middle of the night quietness within you. Listen to your essence inside them speaking. It's the same essence. Lend them your ecstasy through listening to them. There's nothing more penetrating than listening. You can break someone's heart open by listening in the right way. Ah, the rains, the rains. You see, for the bard, it's all about vibration, harmony, melody, symphony, resonance, dissonance, affinity. This is where you get the bardic tradition of the harp or the lyre from. It's where it comes from. The seven-stringed lyre of Orpheus. It's a metaphor for the seven subtle bodies of the Corpus Christi, the layers of the rainbow body of the aura. And in the introduction to this series, I've talked about this, and we're weaving it through the series. The astral realm and the Buddhic realm, the second and the fifth bodies, desire and devotion, the second chakra and the fifth chakra, sexuality and the throat, expression, voice, the bard, the heart. It's all vibration. It's all orgasm. The higher orgasm is the heart orgasm. That's what ecstasy is. It's an orgasm of the heart. It's in the heart of every cell. It's the pulsing of the fifth body as it draws the lower desire nature up into itself. So, Taliesin. Let me tell you something about the legend of Taliesin, how he was born. This is quite a story. Are you seated comfortably? There was a man. His name was Gwion Bach. He was a servant to the enchantress Ceridwen. Ceridwen had 2 children, a beautiful daughter and an ugly son. The son was named Morfran. Even Ceridwen's own magic couldn't cure his ugliness. So she decided, instead, to give Morfran the gift of wisdom. This word wisdom in the Celtic world, it's one of the words they use, is called Arwen, and it really means truth. So she gave him the gift of truth, of Arwen, and she cooked up a potion in her magical cauldron, and the potion had to be stirred for a year and a day. And also, only the first 3 drops of this potion would bestow the magic, like homeopathic drops, quintessence, and the rest would be poison. Well, Gwion Bach, he was given the job to stir, and so he stirred and he stirred, and one day, mistakenly, he spilled 3 drops on his thumb, and instinctively he put his thumb in his mouth, and instantly he gained wisdom and truth. Arwen was given to him. And the first thought that came to him was that Ceridwen would kill him. So he ran away immediately. And Ceridwen, this is not someone you want to cross. So she pursued him, and she found him. And then came this magical chase. Because he had the gift of wisdom and truth, he turned himself into a hare. Gwion, he turned himself into a hare. Ceridwen, she immediately turned herself into a greyhound and chased him. And then he turned himself into a fish, and he jumped into a river. And she turned herself into an otter and chased him. And he turned himself into a bird in the air. In response, she turned herself into a hawk. Exhausted, Gwion turned himself into a single grain of corn and dropped to the earth. And Ceridwen, she became a hen, and she ate him. And then she became pregnant. And she resolved to kill the child, knowing that it was Gwion. But when he was born, he was so beautiful that she couldn't kill him. So she threw him into the ocean in a leather bag. And he was discovered by Elfin, son of a great lord who was out fishing for salmon. And the moment Elfin saw the boy's brow, he cried out, "Dima Taliesin!" What a radiant brow! That's what it means. Dima Taliesin! What a radiant brow! And then Taliesin, immediately, the baby, started reciting poetry. Fair Elfin, cease your lament. Elfin was in a melancholic stage. Cease your lament, though I am weak and small. On the wave crest of the surging sea, I shall be better for you than 300 shares of salmon. Elfin of noble generosity, do not sorrow at your catch. Though I am weak on the floor of my basket, there are wonders on my tongue. Isn't that the most incredible story you've ever heard? These transmutations as this being is born. These are initiations. These are alchemical initiations encoded in this story. The earth, the hare is the first, and then he transforms through water into the salmon, as the fish, and then into the air as a bird, and then to the seed. So he goes through earth, water and air, and then to the seed which gestates inside and is born and cast adrift like Moses. These creation stories, these ancient legends, they're global. They're holographic. This is why they keep repeating themselves in different forms. They speak of the passage of consciousness as it transmigrates through the form. This notion of the special child, or the golden child, or the chosen one, the Christ. The child is often in the myths discarded and sent down the river, and then it's saved and recognized. And it's like that's the journey of the soul. We're discarded and sent down the river and forgotten about until we're recognized. And now we're closer perhaps to who Taliesin is. We know what his name means. The one with the radiant brow. It's like he's resplendent. He's shining from the crown, from his third eye. The higher centers, the halo, or the aureole, sometimes called the aureole, this shine around the head, the aura. So who is Taliesin? This is our question. Perhaps we should ask another question. Where is Taliesin? Where does he spring from? His homeland is Celtic Britain, and above all Wales. We have to mention Wales here. You can't talk about Taliesin without talking about Wales. If you've ever been there, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say that Wales is the source of all magic on this planet. It drips from the ancient trees and hills. It sings in the Welsh language and in the open-heartedness of the people. It's the home and final resting place of, Merlin. In the Earth grid, Wales actually has some of the oldest rocks and geology in the world. And it has this ancient mystical connection to the mythical kingdoms of Atlantis and Lemuria, particularly Lemuria. It faces Ireland and the magical Isle of Man. And it shares this energetic quality with Cornwall in western Britain, through the rocks. The rain's coming in again. Taliesin lived in the land of rains. He was a friend of the rains. I'm sure that's why he's deluging on the rooftop of my little house now. Wales is the land of Taliesin. There's a cromlech dedicated to him. A cromlech is usually 3 standing stones with a 4th large stone lying on the top, and you can climb in underneath it. And I went to this cromlech once. It's in a field in Wales, in a hidden part of Wales. These are places where you can literally breathe the memory through the stones. They're called nematons, hidden places, places where memory wells up through the earth grid. And you actually have to be there with your aura to unlock it, to activate it. And for me, there's an even deeper mystery to Taliesin than simply this bardic tradition. Because my question is, where did the bardic tradition emerge from? And so we have to keep travelling, and we have to go back even further, into the ancient pre-Celtic shamanic streams and the lineages of the mystery schools. For me, Taliesin was and remains a great initiate, a master who attained enlightenment and illumination through the mysteries of the old shamanic ways. He's part of a living chain of beings who carry an ancient transmission. Merlin, Ossian, Amergin, other names lost to time. These were incarnations, a direct lineage, orally transmitted and passed on through living embodiment. This magical elixir of Ceridwen's cauldron, it represents this living transmission. There's this idea it's always stolen from the gods, which means really that it's revealed from the inner planes. It's there in this Celtic concept of the Arwen, the breath of inspiration, truth, the transmission of truth. And as Christianity emerged, so this ancient transmission became integrated into another form, into another race, as the memories all merged and melted. And in the words of Fiona MacLeod, great Celtic author, the Celts are a dying race, but they are reborn inside a stronger race. The spirit never dies. So today, this spirit, it's available in the DNA inside every single human being. We're at a time of merging where all the lineages and strands are coming together, and the holographic mirror of reality is being revealed to those of us who are awakening. And this awakening is coming to the whole planet. And here we are now today. And so what is Taliesin to us today? There's a question. Well, he is reawakening. He's the ancient spirit of the land. He's the magic of the higher planes. Like Christ, he has allowed himself to be assimilated into all the cultures, into all gene pools. He's a wizard like that. Like the seed in Ceridwen's breast, he's preparing to emerge back into the world. Taliesin, the one with a radiant brow. Such an ecstatic. We live in an amazing time. I've said this before. The ancient gods and deities are awakening once again. There are forces bound up within this earth, pure elemental forces, ancestral spirits, and they come up to the surface at certain places in the earth grid. We know these places, all of us. We know these magical places because we're drawn to them. We find them, these nematons, these hidden places where the memory is, it's just crackles in the air. And these spirits, these deities, they're here to work alongside us. Like Taliesin, those who listen into nature, those of us who take time to drift and dream and sit by a stream all day long, or lie beneath an oak, or make a pilgrimage to one of the old places. And then they come up to meet us when we open our hearts, and they meet us in our ecstasy as we open our hearts to the wildest possibilities of our dreams and our destinies. And the old ways have changed, because in the old days we called them gods and we worshipped them, these ancestral spirits. And they're real. Oh yes, they're real. You better believe they're real. I know, I've seen them. I've seen them. And they carry information for us. And the old ways where we worshipped them, and we treated them in a way with disrespect. We put them on pedestals. We made figurines of them. We called upon them when we were in need. Only when we were in need. And now we have to partner with them. We have to partner with these forces because we have to co-create with them. They're on a parallel evolution to us in a subtle realm. But that evolution comes to meet us. Our evolutions are kissing each other as our aura awakens in the higher aspects. We become aware of these parallel evolutions, the Devic realms, as they're known. And the Devas, the deities of nature, which exist in the vibration world, we can resonate them We can bring them alive through our voice, and this is the real meaning of the bardic tradition. See, the bardic tradition allows those beings to come alive within the aura of our music, of our voice. Whenever we open our heart and allow them to live inside us, it's like they come and roost in our aura. They're drawn by the higher frequencies. Taliesin, old friend, he came and found them snarled as though in a net, and he cut the ties that bound them, that they might see. Taliesin. He is, of course, you. Well, that was a rich and lustrous journey for me, and I hope it was for you. So let's just draw our breath back into our hearts for a moment and round this off so that we have a sense of completion. Taliesin, we've seen then, is many things. He's a kind of mythic repository for many different and diverse strands of wisdom. Romantic, archaic, Celtic, indigenous, Neolithic, even prelapsarian, that means before the fall. He actually can connect us into subtler forms of human evolution before recorded history. The Atlantean, the Lemurian evolutions. So Taliesin is a portal. He's a doorway to another realm, even a stargate, into a sphere outside our own evolution. He lies outside time and space, and he represents a lineage wound deeply into human DNA. And even though his language and his expression comes from the Celtic pantheons, the Celtic words and worlds, he's not restricted to that land. He emerges all around the world whenever the sound of the human voice has been used as a direct transmitter of truth through oral poetry. Above all, though, Taliesin is an archetype, and in the recent glossary, I'm creating a glossary that goes with my Gene Keys book. And it's a powerful glossary. It's a glossary of empowerment. And the word archetype, this is what is written in the glossary. An archetype is a compressed idea containing many dimensions of meaning, imagery, and feeling. Archetypes resonate with deep universal themes in the unconscious of all human beings, regardless of race, genetics, or conditioning. According to the Gene Keys, there are exactly 64 universal archetypes. And when you continuously contemplate and identify with a particular archetype, it has the capacity to transform your state of consciousness from a low frequency to a high frequency. That's an archetype. Archetypes have that purpose. So as an archetype, Taliesin empowers us to lift our voices in praise and to let love vibrate when we speak to others, to use the human voice as a means of transmitting the ecstatic frequencies. That's why at the beginning I said this pilgrimage is one that requires courage. You're not here just as voyeurs. There's a contract between you and I, and that I'm giving you permission to give yourself permission to be a lover, to be an ecstatic in the busy world of today, and to take courage and speak your love to those you've never dared to speak it to fully. Your mother, your father, your partner, your boss. Let this higher frequency come through your voice. Let the lilting resonance of the bard charm you and charm those around you. And let the enchantment flow through you. Let the grace and the romance of the music and poetry that's in your heart speak. Speak that sweetness that's inside that bee's hive of your heart. And let the honey flow from your lips. And then watch the magic as your world and your relationships are transformed and softened. Because that's what this honey does. Watch as the hard edges become rounded and your eyes become gentler as you gaze with love at the life that surrounds you. You see, this is the message. Everyone has a poet inside them. Taliesin is a direct route into your own poetry. Not that you have to write poems. You may. But that's not what it's about. It's that your life becomes your poem, and your acts become the words, and your words punctuate those acts. The power of Taliesin, then, is the power of tone. That's his secret. He's cadence, timing, and tone. And his tone inside you, inside me, is ecstasy. And it flows from the heart of creation. It's my heart. It's your heart. It's all our hearts. So I wish you well on your journey through life, wherever you are in the world, whatever state you find yourself in. Remember these two secrets from Taliesin. Let your tone carry what's in your heart, and remember to lift your voice often in praise. Praise those whom you love, those who challenge you, and you'll see a miracle growing before your eyes. And the other secret is to listen. Listen, Taliesin. Listen to those around you. Listen to nature. Listen to the wind in the trees, to the sunlight and the ocean and the pounding waves. Listen with softness and trust and love. And don't add anything to your listening. Just let the other flow through you and into you. And soon you'll hear the essence. And that will be something remarkable and something beyond words for you and for them. And finally, thank you. Thank you for listening to me. It has been, as always, an ecstatic pleasure to share this journey with you all.